Hi guys, and welcome to another Pet Wednesday video. So today's video is going to be an introduction to all of my small pets. So that's the rabbits, the pigs, the chickens, just a bit of information about them, how old they are, where they came from, basically their story with us. Now if you want to see the horse version of this, I've done another video called Meet My 6 Horses. I'll link that in the description box below so you can go and watch that after this video. But yeah, so let's get on with it and I'll introduce you to the rabbits first. So I'll introduce you to my youngest rabbit first. So my youngest rabbit is Tallulah. So Tallulah is 2 years old. I actually was working at Pets at Home one day and someone walked in with this little ball of fur in their hands and I thought it was a hamster. She was that small. I think she was only like 4 or 5 weeks old and she was absolutely tiny. She fit in the palm of someone's hand and they said it was a rabbit and they had broken its front leg. So we had a policy that we couldn't take on injured pets. They were meant to go to a rescue, but I decided to take Tallulah on as my own and I took her to the vets. The vet said we'll give her some pain relief, she probably won't make it through the night, and here we are 2 years later. So it was her front left leg, and as you can see she can now use it fine. It's still a bit bent, but one day it just kind of righted itself and she gradually started putting more pressure on it. So she did actually fix itself in the end, but obviously she has been hand reared, so that's why she's on her own currently, because I've tried to introduce her to other rabbits but she thinks she's human. She is lovely, she's very bossy, especially with me. She thinks she's the boss of me and just demands head rubs constantly, but she is so lovely and she's come such a long way. She used to live with me at university and now she lives on her own in this shed at home. My plan is to bond her with Dottie. It's not going too well at the minute because, as I said, Tallulah thinks she's human and doesn't understand that she's got to be nice to other rabbits, but I think she will get there eventually. So I am in the process of slowly bonding those two together, so hopefully she'll have a little bunny friend soon. But yeah, that's Tallulah. She is the little one and she, I think, is an Evelyn cross. I'm not too sure. Her ears are quite big for a Nethy, so I'm guessing she's crossed with something else and might just be small just due to her sort of being hand reared. So next up we have my oldest bunny, and this is Ariel. So Ariel is 8 years old and she has a condition that means that both of her eyes run a lot. She's also deaf and blind, so she kind of lives in her own little bubble. She used to be bonded with her sister Aurora, who sadly passed away, so I adopted them both from Barnsley Animal Rescue a few years ago now, probably about 5 years ago, maybe more than that, maybe 6. So then when her sister passed, we bonded Ariel with Rain, and then he sadly passed away also. So we decided to keep her on her own now, just because she gets very disorientated if things are moved and she doesn't actually know when we're there or not because she can't see and she can't hear. So if she feels you next to her, she tends to run away. And I think if another rabbit came in and started moving her food bowl or moving her hay, I think she'd get very easily disorientated, and I think she's just that old now that she wouldn't do very well with another rabbit. But other than that, she's in good health apart from her eyes. Next we have Dottie. So Dottie is again another rescue rabbit. She is quite big at the minute. She's a bit of a chunk. I think she's about 4 years old now, maybe 5. And she's a lovely bun. She's very inquisitive. She's very sort of wants attention. She's probably the most human friendly of all of my rabbits. And that's why I'm hoping she'll get on with Tallulah, because even though Tallulah is bossy, I think Dottie would be quite submissive with her. So that is the plan, that her and Tallulah will live together soon. Other than that, there's not really that much I can say about Dottie. She's just a rescue bunny that I took on from work. And yeah, that's Dots. Next we have Nala. So Nala is my lion head rabbit. She is 5 years old and she was a stray when I took her in. So she's very skittish now. She doesn't really like people being around her. She sort of prefers to be kept to herself, and she doesn't get on with other rabbits at all. She attacked Dottie when I tried to introduce her previously. but they see each other through the bars in the aviary and they get on fine then. It's just if they're face to face, even on neutral territory. So that's why Dottie's on her own. But as I said, yeah, she kind of is quite difficult to film as well, because if I'm in the shed, she'll go in the aviary. If I'm outside near the aviary, she'll go in the shed. So that's why she's quite difficult to get on camera. So there are my bunnies, and then moving on to the chickens. Okay, so we have 2 sets of ex-battery chickens. Some we've had a couple of years maybe, and one we've had only about a year. So I'll start with the ones that we've had the longest. So I think we have 6 of these left. These are our old girls. They're the ones that we've had the longest, and they don't really lay eggs anymore. They're quite friendly. I'm not the biggest lover of chickens. My dad's the chicken one, so he's got the ex-batteries. It's really nice to like rehome ex-batteries, and sort of they come to us with no feathers and broken beaks and things, and sort of nurturing them back to health and seeing them now with so many feathers and so much room compared to what they had is amazing. So moving on to the other side, so our chickens are separated because the new set of ex-batteries do not get along with the old set of ex-batteries. They end up fighting, they end up pulling feathers out, and we end up having to quarantine certain ones because they end up with so many feathers pulled out, and once chickens sort of see blood, they just keep pecking and keep pecking. They're quite sort of nasty to each other in a way. So that's why they're separated by the mesh, because it's just easier to keep them separate. So I think we have about 7 in this side. These ones kind of tend to be a bit friendlier than the old girls. I don't know why. We don't know which battery farms they've come from, sort of where they were previous to us, but these girls lay a lot more eggs than the others. They've not had quite as many health issues either, I don't believe. But yeah, at the minute they're just living their lives on the farm. They get corn and layers pellets all the time, and they have all this room, and they did have a lot of grass, but they've just scratched it all up and wrecked it. So yeah, they're the chickens. So next up we have the pigs. So we have Primrose and Pickle. I'll show you Primrose first. So this is Prim. They're now about 5 years old. We bought the pigs on Mother's Day 5 years ago because my mum always wanted a pet pig, so we got 2 obviously. So Pickle has been neutered because obviously we didn't want brother and sister having babies. So they lived together for about 18 months, and then Primrose, on like a daily occasion when they were fed, could be quite aggressive towards Pickle, but he never turned on her or anything. And she used to like go behind him and tip him up whenever they were eating. And this was fine for 18 months, and then one day Pickle, I think, just decided he had enough, and he turned around and he bit Primrose when she did it. Now initially it wasn't like too bad, it didn't really draw blood or anything, but as each day went by he got more and more aggressive with her, and so they got into fights over food, and it got to the point where he was actually biting Primrose's ears and drawing blood. So we decided that we tried to separate them just for feed times, but they're quite large pigs and they're really strong, so that's very difficult to do. So then we decided to build a little fence in the middle of their enclosure, build another sty, and they could live side by side quite happily. So they do still get on okay, but during food they can still be aggressive towards each other over the fence. I don't think they'll ever live together like they used to, just because that's sort of ingrained in them now that they kind of fight over food. But other than that, they are lovely animals. So Primrose is the more chilled out of the 2. She loves mud baths and she loves tummy tickles. They're her favourite thing in the world. And then we have Pickle. So Pickle used to be ginger as a piglet, but he sort of lost his colouring as he's got older. He's the smaller of the 2. And he is so inquisitive. Literally trying to film this was a nightmare because he will not stand still, and if you're in there he just wants to be in your face, as you can tell. But he is again another lovely pig. He's quite playful, and he's very intelligent. Pickle used to know quite a few tricks when he was younger. He won't do them now because he's a stubborn old pig, but he learned a lot of tricks, whereas Primrose is always kind of not really fussed. But they are very intellectual. and they are amazing pets if you have the room for them. But yeah, so those are my 2 piggies, and that is all of the small pets. Okay, so that is everything for this week's pet video. I hope you enjoyed meeting all of my pets. If you did, give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions about any of my pets or about the horses, leave them in the comments below, and I'll also link the horses get to know me video in the description bar. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.